Building wealth works exactly like controlling the weather. You cannot stop the storm from coming, but you can build a shelter so strong that the storm becomes completely irrelevant to your survival. Once you see money through that lens, you cannot unsee it. And here is what nobody tells you about the Stoics. Seneca died worth the equivalent of $300 million in today's money. Marcus Aurelius ran the wealthiest empire on earth for 19 years. Cato, let me paint you a picture you already know too well. You open your banking app first thing in the morning, and that low-level anxiety hits before you even get out of bed. You're working harder than you ever have. Maybe you are making more than you made 3 years ago. But the numbers never seem to create peace. You spend a little, you feel guilty, you save aggressively, you feel deprived, you check the market, and your mood swings with the percentage. You read about inflation, about interest rates, about some new financial crisis coming, and that quiet hum of dread just gets louder. The worst part? You cannot turn it off. It follows you into dinner with your family. It follows you onto the weekend. It follows you into moments that are supposed to be calm. Modern life has handed you more financial information than any human in history has ever had access to, and somehow you feel less in control than ever. That is not a money problem. That is a mind problem. And the Stoics diagnosed it 2,000 years ago. So what do most people do when they feel financially overwhelmed? They go looking for a system. They buy the budget spreadsheet. They download the 5th investing app. They binge 3 hours of financial advice content on a Sunday night, which, no judgment, is probably partly how you ended up here. Or they go the other direction entirely. They adopt this almost aggressive detachment. They say money does not matter. They romanticize being broke. They quote Thoreau and tell themselves simplicity is the answer. Both camps are doing the exact same thing with different aesthetics. They are trying to fix an internal problem with an external solution. The spreadsheet does not fix the anxiety. The minimalist lifestyle does not fix the craving, because neither of them addresses what is actually happening inside your head when you think about money. One group is trying to control everything. The other group is trying to control nothing, and both of them are exhausted. Here is the brutal truth the Stoics would tell you directly. You are confusing the instrument with the goal. A hammer is not a house. Money is not security. Seneca wrote this in a letter to his friend Lucilius around 62 AD, and I am paraphrasing here. He said that the man who needs wealth to feel safe will never feel safe, because no amount of wealth actually creates safety in a man who does not possess himself first. This is the failure point. The spreadsheet fails because the anxiety is not about the numbers. It is about your relationship to outcomes you cannot fully control. The detachment philosophy fails because pretending you do not need resources does not make you free. It just makes you underprepared. The problem is not how much you have. The problem is that your emotional state is still being dictated by something outside of you. And when your peace lives outside of you, in a bank balance, in a portfolio number, in what other people think of your lifestyle, you have no peace at all. You have a hostage situation. Now here is where it gets interesting. And this is the part that almost nobody talks about when they explain Stoicism. The Stoics did not say money is evil. They did not say wealth is shameful. They used a very specific Latin category for it. They called it a preferred indifferent. In Greek, they called it a proegmenon. What that means is this: wealth is genuinely useful, genuinely worth pursuing, genuinely worth keeping. But it is not required for your well-being. Think about that carefully. Not required for your well-being. That distinction is not semantic. It is everything. Because when you pursue something from a place of need, you are desperate. You make bad decisions. You hold on too tight. You panic sell. You overspend to feel worthy. You undersell yourself in negotiations because you cannot afford to lose. But when you pursue something from a position of self-possession, when you want it without needing it, your judgment becomes clear. Your decisions become precise. Your patience becomes a weapon. Seneca was wealthy. Cato was disciplined with Rome's money. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire. And every single one of them, imagine waking up and opening your banking app and feeling nothing. Not denial, not numbness, not disconnection from reality, just nothing. Calm, because your sense of who you are is not living inside that number. You still care about building wealth. You still pursue it with genuine intelligence and energy. But the market drops 18% in a week and you sleep fine, because you already stress-tested this scenario mentally 6 months ago using a practice Marcus Aurelius called negative visualization, premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. You already lived through the worst case in your mind. The actual event has no power to ambush you. You negotiate your salary with clarity because you have genuinely reconciled with the outcome of not getting it. You invest consistently and patiently because you have eliminated the emotional noise that makes other investors buy at peaks and sell at valleys. Your financial decisions are no longer driven by fear or greed. They are driven by reason. And here is the side effect nobody advertises. People around you start to notice. There is something unshakable about you. That quality attracts opportunity in ways that anxious, reactive behavior never can. So what is the actual mechanism? What structurally changed between the anxious version of you and the unshakable version? One thing: the location of your security. The anxious version of you stores security externally, in the account balance, in the approval, in the stability of circumstances you cannot fully control. The Stoic version stores security internally, in your values, your judgment, your capacity to adapt, your willingness to face hard scenarios before they happen. This is not positive thinking. This is not affirmations. It is a rigorous daily discipline that Epictetus, a man who was literally born into slavery in 50 AD and owned nothing, used to develop a philosophy of personal power that Marcus Aurelius, who owned everything, studied obsessively. The same philosophy worked for the man with nothing and the man with everything, because it was never about the amount. It was always about the architecture of the mind holding the amount. The Stoics did not become wealthy despite their philosophy. They became wealthy and remained sane because of it. Here is the practical framework. 3 Stoic moves you can start using this week. First, run the premeditatio malorum drill every Sunday morning. Sit for 5 minutes and genuinely ask yourself, what is the financial worst case I am actually afraid of? Write it down. Sit with it. Ask, could I survive this? In most cases, yes. That exercise alone dissolves approximately 80% of your financial anxiety because your brain stops treating vague fear like a predator. Second, separate preference from need every time you make a financial decision. Before you act, ask, am I doing this because it is genuinely the best move or because I am trying to escape a feeling? That one question will save you from more bad decisions than any spreadsheet ever will. Third, practice voluntary discomfort once a month. Seneca did this deliberately. Skip a comfort expense for 30 days, not because it saves you money, though it does, but because you are proving to your nervous system that you are not dependent on comfort to function. You are training resilience the way athletes train muscle. Now, if you want to go deeper into this philosophy and actually build the daily practice, 2 books have genuinely shaped how I think about this. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday is structured as a daily meditation, and it fits perfectly into a morning routine, even 5 minutes. And if you want the academic foundation, A Guide to the Good Life by William Irvine is as close to a complete manual for Stoic living as you will find in modern writing. Both are available on Audible if you prefer to absorb them during a commute or workout. I will link all 3 options in the description below. They are the kind of investment that pays compounding returns on every other decision you make. Here is the thing about Stoicism and money that I want to leave you with, and this is the loop we opened at the beginning. You cannot control the storm. You never could. No savings rate, no portfolio allocation, no financial strategy has ever given any human being control over external circumstances. What the Stoics figured out 2,300 years ago is that the shelter is built inside, not outside. And once you build it there, the storm stops being a threat. It becomes irrelevant. That is not resignation. That is the most sophisticated form of financial